inspired by kingdom principles that work for you.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Rayette Spence for RBNTV Network's Relationship Matters. And listen, we have a show lined up for you today. And this is a show that's very near and dear to my heart. And I told my guests prior to, I said, Lord, I hope I can get through this show. And today we're talking about infertility in women and how how it lends to relationships, how it works within relationships, how do relationships work around it, how do you get to a relationship being a woman that has to do with infertility. And so I have two wonderful guests here today who are willing to tell their stories, and that alone is commendable because infertility can be kind of like a taboo. So one of the first persons I would like to introduce, I tell you, I'm already starting to get all kind of shittery about this subject, is Acribba Lightbourne. She is a mommy, she's a wife, she's an infertility warrior, she's a faith walker, she is a clothing line designer, and she is a television, she's a host of her own talk show. So help me welcome Miss Acribba Lightbourne.
Hey, Rayette.
Hey, Sue, how are you? I told you.
I am well.
I think I need to play some music in the back. I'm already choked up and lost for words, and I gotta pull it all the way together. And who is that beauty? I just want that little beautiful face to just pop out for me, and I want everybody to remember that face because she is going to be topic of discussion when you talk about holding faith in your hands. That is. And I'll let you tell everybody about that. I won't steal that. Let's bring in our next guest. Our next guest is Gia. She's a wife of 14 years, but when you look at her, you're gonna ask her, she got married at 2. She's a wife of 14 years, a dental hygienist, and she has her own in-home bakery. And she's here to tell us her story and her journey as it relates to infertility. Let me welcome Miss Gia Smith. Hey, girls.
Hi, hey.
You girls are looking fabulous.
Thank you.
If I had known sequin was the dress of the night, I would have thrown on some.
Girl, please. So how are you guys doing, man? How y'all doing?
I am wonderful.
Wonderful.
Good. No complaints. No complaints.
I'm just excited to have you here because, like I said, introducing the show, this topic is kind of taboo. You know, we don't like to talk about it because somehow we think that something's wrong as women. Because as women, this thing is supposed to happen naturally. This is the natural progression of a woman. This is you're a woman.
Yeah.
And when this doesn't happen, I don't care. A lot of people say, oh no, it doesn't bother me. Something inside of you says, I'm not a whole woman. So I wanted to talk to women today because believe it or not, these are mama and papa days when mama could have do 10. Back to back to back to back. And we know that can be contributed to a whole lot of things, our diet, our stress level, and all the other stuff. But I just want to help women out there. I'm going to start with you, Acribba. I want you, first of all, to tell us about your talk show. And you have been leading this, what is the word I'm looking for?
A movement.
This movement for women. And that's how I got to know you. Because I was dealing with this issue, still dealing with this issue. And I needed somebody who could relate to what I was dealing with without being judgmental. And being real at the same time. And I think that's what women are lacking. So tell me about this movement that you're leading.
So once again, I'm honored to be on the show, Rayette. I'm grateful for our connection. And of course, this is very dear to me as well because I am a woman that once walked this road, and the I asked God for something. I asked God for a child, and I made a promise that if He was to bless my womb one more time, I promised that I would tell the world about it. And the reason why is because when I found out that I was diagnosed to be infertile, it came like a thousand blocks fell on me because now I'm married. How do I tell my husband? How do we go about this? And I promised that I would share with the world. And when I got in it, I realized that in the Bahamas, no one spoke about it. So I felt as if it was only me that was struggling with this thing called infertility.
Right.
And so
Right.
what I did, I didn't even know Gia. What I did was I had to venture off online, and I'm grateful for social media because social media makes the world so small. I met people all over the
Mhm.
world that became sisters, and this is where I found my comfort. This is where my ministry basically began. I found myself on a platform with women I don't even know. I never
Right.
even posted a photo of myself. And all I went on this page doing was talking about faith. I didn't even have the baby yet, Rayanne, but I just was talking about
Don't talk.
faith.
Don't tell them too much. Don't tell them too much. Don't tell them too much. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't tell them too much. Hold back.
Okay. Put back.
Gia.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was just so attentive. Like, Gia, you're 39. Do you have any children?
Yes. No.
You don't have any
No
children
kids for us as yet. No.
as yet. So this
Not as
too
yet.
is a journey. This is the journey that
Yes.
you're on because you're speaking to us. Tell me, what was it when you first realized that this is going to be a little bit tougher than another woman's journey as it relates to having a child?
Yes. Well, newlyweds, they always have this timeline. You want to enjoy one another, so our timeline was 3 years. So we would wait our 3 years and then we would start our family.
Yes.
But before that 3 years ended, I noticed that I would have these uterine pains, ovary pains. So had a scan done. It was discovered I had an endometrial cyst. So at the time, like, no big deal. We'll just go in, remove it, and put you
Right.
on some birth control until you're ready to start your family. So that was surgery number one. All right. So after that 3 years ended, we, started on our journey. And in my husband's mind, it would take one time and boom, I'd be big up. But, months passed and it turned into 6 months. Then it turned into a year, and at the time I still had youth on my side.
Right.
So, wasn't really too pressed about it, Pains came back again. Another ultrasound done. This time I had 2 cysts on each ovary. Threw in some fibroids there. This is yet another surgery. Okay. Had that taken care of. Okay. Let's start trying again. Still nothing happening. About a year and a half after that. So now we're in, I think, our third or fourth year of trying, and 2 surgeries in. I have to have yet another surgery because now there's cysts, there's fibroids, and now my fallopian tubes are swollen. So now I have things coming at all sides now. So even before I considered another surgery, I started to look into IVF because I kind of felt that that's where it was going. So like Kiki, I started to YouTube and, go on social media and start to do my investigations to see, okay, where do we
All right.
go
Before
about?
you guys get into the IVF thing, I just want to take this in segments because it's so much. So
Yes,
you've
definitely.
done 3 surgeries. Kiki, you're a newlywed. Um, where are the husbands in all of this? Um, what what are they going through? Because we have to realize that the men are going through just as much as we are. Because this is going to take a whole lot for you to be able to tell your husband, we may not be able to have, and it's probably my fault. So tell me what that journey was like, because some men would say, you know what? I want a child and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get it. And some of them have done that. So tell me about your journeys as it relates to your significant other. Acribba?
Well, just to go back a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
during our engagement, of course, I went to my gynecologist to find out what was going on. So during that time, I think I had a surgery in Nigeria. I lost both my fallopian tubes. So I went through some surgeries as well. And I remember when I had that surgery, my husband saying to me at the time, he said, baby, whatever it takes for us to have a child, we are going to have a child. And I thought that that was so important because, like you said, the men are very quiet. We talk. Women share how they feel. Men don't. They sit down in the chair and they just suffer. They don't share their feelings. And so, I said to him, I said, you were sure? And he was like, yes, baby, we're gonna do whatever we have to do to have this child. And so that was encouraging because right then and there, I realized that my husband was on board. So favorably on my side, I didn't have that problem, but I have gotten in tune with people who has had problems like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What was your journey like, Gia?
When I tell you my husband, he has held my hand every step of the way from every doctor's visit. He would be the first person I would see when my eyes open from any surgery. Anything, he is present, and I am so thankful for that. That was not my journey with dealing with a husband that wanted a child so bad he was going ahead and everywhere to have one.
Right.
So he has been
Right.
by my side, and he said, even if we never have kids, we have each other.
Yeah.
Wonderful. See, these are the stories that you need to hear, because so many times we just focus in on what the woman is feeling and not
Mhm.
necessarily what the man goes through, because they don't have support groups. They could be sitting around talking, like people say, they could be sitting down talking about, hey, my wife couldn't have a child. How you deal with it? They ain't about to do that.
Yeah. They ain't gonna do
So
that.
we have to be able to tap into that sensitive side. Now, quickly, the other day, Angie, I went to church. I went to a service, and the prophetess was talking, because we got to get into this faith thing. The prophetess was talking about how she had prophesied to a lady who was married to have a child. And I'm sitting there smiling to myself because, ooh, that's your word, girl, grab it. And she said some years had passed, and the lady kind of gave up on it because now she was 45. That is not the part that got me. The part that got me was when the lady said, when the preacher said, at 45, no, at 43 or 45, something like she's still trying to have a baby. Someone in the back of the church shouted, and she still want baby? That crushed me. Yeah. And I was like, that's, where is it that we stop thinking, oh, like that totally.
It's okay. It's okay, Ray. You can let the tears fall. I expect it. It's
Listen,
okay.
my napkin right here waiting.
Yeah, it's okay. People can
Like
be
that
very
totally
insensitive. They can be very
That's what it
insensitive.
is.
Like,
yeah,
why should I give up on my dream of
yeah,
holding that because of age? And that
Right.
totally shattered me. And I mean, she shouted that. And I'm thinking, suppose the lady was in church.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And
yeah.
let's just speak to the insensitivity of people. And I think that's why a lot of people don't talk about it, and we scream in silence.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is, like Gia said, back in when you were younger, you were like,
Mhm.
oh, we can handle this. It's okay. It's another year. But when you get down into your older years,
Yes.
with every period comes a stress level. With every period comes a stress level like, oh my God, we missed again.
Again.
And you're hearing this is going to happen, but nothing is lining up with what you're hearing. So that's where you guys come in, and that's where I think your story. Now, everyone's story is not going to be the same. Everybody's journey is not. And by the way, the lady is pregnant. She's very pregnant at 45. But everybody's
Won't he
journey
do
is
it?
not going. Yes, yes. And so that really gave me some hope.
Oh,
But
yes.
everybody's journey is not going to be the same. Tell me about your journey to get to where you got, Acribba.
Well, first of all, Rayette, I had to connect with the Creator. Having a child, I have a daughter that's going to be 20. So I was able to conceive naturally. So I know what it is to have a child naturally.
Right.
And so I always use my infertility journey as someone that once was able to see and then it was taken away. And so now my ability was taken away to do it naturally. And I had to connect with the Creator. I had to hear what God was saying. A lot of times people are very insensitive, and that's why, like you say, people get in a shell. I know what it is to take pregnancy tests and you see periods coming and nothing is happening. I know about that. I know about looking and, peeing on a stick all the time and you don't get what you want and the depression sets in. I know what it is when people ask you, what happened to the child? You ain't pregnant yet? I know about those things. I know about it, and I'm sure Gia knows about it too. And it makes you feel some kind of way, but I had to connect with the Creator. I had to hear what it was that God was saying. And I think that's the key. You need to find out what God is saying. And from the beginning of time, God never said that we would be barren. God said that we would have pain during labor. And so when I saw that, I knew I already had the child. So I knew that this was possible, and so I realized now that God wanted something from me. God wanted something from me. And I'm sorry it had to be this, but I can appreciate it now, Rayette, because it's purposeful for me when I'm able to speak to other people like I'm doing now and say it is possible. I don't care if you're 45. I don't care if you're 50. If God was able to do it for Sarah, He can do it for you. You understand what I'm saying? And so it doesn't matter, because the doctors have a formula that say, like with me, I was already at that brink. So my doctor was like, we got to hurry up. You got to hurry up, do something quickly because your eggs are going down. So, you have to hurry up. This is your short hair. But I was going in this with, God didn't put an age limit on my womb bearing fruit. He just told me that in its season, it will bear fruit. And so I didn't put a limit on that. So I had to go in, Rayette, with faith. My whole journey was faith. Even going through IVF with 1 million needles in your tummy and the steroids that literally can carry you crazy. I had to put it in the master's hands for no side effects. When I saw people struggling with cold sweats and depression, nothing was wrong with me, and I went through it, and very seldom, very rare, a woman would go into IVF and come out with a baby one shot. That is very rare. But I'll tell you, before I let Gia speak, I'll tell you, you have to command what you want. And I told the doctors and I told God, I got one shot at this because it's very expensive. And God said, God said, if you got one shot, if you give me your faith, I'll give you what you want. And so I went in it with that. So my journey was, it had its hills, it was up and down, but I never allowed fear to get in. And just before I let go to Gia now, but I'll tell you, IVF is a mindset. You have to speak to it. You have to believe that what you're doing is going to work. You have to believe that God is with you. Yes, He gave man the wisdom to assist, but the doctors are not the great physician. You have to go in it with the understanding that, God, I'm going through this, but I'm taking you ahead. You elected these people, they're going to help me. They're only assisting. And so that's how I went into it. And during that journey, my fertility clinic said, Acribba, you never shed a tear. I said, why? I remember having 8 eggs and ending up with 3. Now, depression should have set in there because you know what it is. I saw women, We saw women producing 28 eggs and 30 eggs, and you just coming out with your little 8 eggs, and then all the eggs don't survive, and then you end up with 3, and then you don't know what's going to happen. Could you imagine?
Right.
That's just like miscarrying. So for me, my journey was basically faith. I went in it with the master. I looked at the scriptures, and I know that my womb's supposed to carry fruit. I tell Geodos all the time, had I known, I would have never let the devil take my fallopian tubes. I would have never gotten rid of them. But I had to, because it was just no use. They were just closed right up.
So Gia, you've gone through the IVF as well.
Yes, and believe it or not, Kiki and I went around the same time, but we did not cross paths, did not know one another. But we both went in 2015.
So your experience didn't render success.
No.
See that I did not know that. See, that's it right there, and that is my thing. There is a purpose for everything. That Kiki could walk in there because she had to have this child, so that this very moment she could sit and talk to women that are going through this. Now, I want us to talk about women that don't have that money. Acribba, women that won't ever have that money, Gia, to do the IVFs. Because like we say, you might could scoundrel up something for the first time, but when they tell you it didn't work, you ain't got another $10,000, $12,000 to make it happen again. What are we saying to those women who are waiting for their womb to bear fruit?
Gia, you want to go, or is that for me or Gia?
You take it first, Kiki.
Okay. That's fine. Rayette, in the absence of sex, that is frustrating. One of the things that I was very concerned about during my IVF journey was not being able to be intimate with my husband. Every day I would ask him if he's satisfied. And during that journey, a woman could never, you have to be careful how your body, you cannot allow your body to have these feelings. You have to suppress them, because you don't want to ruin anything. And
no stress levels at all.
Exactly. And so
anxiety.
Yes, I was very concerned about my husband's sex life, because I understand how important intimacy is for a marriage. That's one of the key things. And, we were out of sex for some time, but I thank God that he gave my husband the grace to deal with it. But to the women that do not have the funds, see, God, even in the midst of, I always say this, and this is not strange to Gia, in the midst of every bad situation, God is still there. In the midst of something that you feel that is not good, God is still there, and he still has a plan. And see, when you don't have the funding, now God is saying to you, I want you to give me your all. I need you to trust me that you will bear. I have my faith is so crazy, Rayette. I believe that a woman that doesn't have to have all her organs to conceive. And I know that this may sound silly. Yeah. This may sound silly. But that's my faith. That's how crazy it is. I believe that if, God said that we were placed here to be fruitful and to multiply, and his word will not return unto him void. And so I believe that when you're at a place where, people may say, well, should I just go and adopt a child? I've seen people, I've known people that went to the, it wasn't working out. So they said, well, we're going to adopt. They were just about to sign the paper. And then all of a sudden, boom, pregnant. I mean, twins and pregnant. And so, you don't know what God wants to get out. You don't know if he wants to say, you know what, try this. Let me see how desperate you are. And it takes desperation too. People may say, well, I don't want to adopt because I want to carry it myself. And I think a lot of things we do is based around what people are going to say. Yes. They don't see you pregnant and then this child pops up. Okay, where did Rayette get this baby from? You start to become concerned about that. But your mind now has to be tapped into no matter what. I want to be a mother. And you'll be surprised to know that God may be saying, okay, you were able to sow a seed in someone else's life. Now I will bless yours. I'm not saying that you should go out there and adopt. That is totally up to you. But I know that when you reach a crossroad, that is when God is saying, give me all that you have. Give me everything that you have. Give me your faith and I will show you. Read my word and see what I say. Give it back to me and watch me. That is all that I did. That is all that I did.
Now, Gia, your demographic is a little bit different. I can let you speak to that as well, but I want you to speak to this. You've been married for 14 years. You've done the IVF. It has not been successful as yet. I don't know if you're going to do it again or you're going to keep trying on your own. But tell me, how have you maintained your femininity? If you understand what I'm saying. How is it? Because a lot of women battle with, I'm less of a woman. Because, and we do it with a lot of things. I'm less than a woman if I'm not a wife. I'm less than a woman if I'm not a mommy. We're all wives, so we're not battling with that issue. But how is it that you feel that I'm still a woman, first of all, in the midst of, I think you and I talked about this, in the midst of other women? How do you stand in a room whole with everybody else? I think you and I talked about this. You're the auntie to the party. Everybody's auntie, but you ain't got no baby. You to the shower. You the cutest one to the shower, by the way. Thank you. You're the cutest one to the shower with your big gift. You know it's in yourself. You're not jealous because you ain't carrying no jealousy. You're happy for whoever you're there for, but there's a pain that grips you. And you're sitting there asking, when is it going to be my time? Or the photos of him rubbing the belly and you have your little baby bump and you then pick out the dress that you want for your photo shoot. How do you maintain your femininity in the midst of that and say to yourself, even if it doesn't happen, and that's not speaking from a lack of faith, I'm still everything that God has created me to be. I'm still a woman.
You know what? I can honestly say that has come from my husband. Him constantly reassuring me and affirming me and building me up. Because even though we weren't able to conceive, I still had my sense of femininity. Good. When it really, I guess, started to crumble was after I lost my fallopian tubes. Then that really solidified this the end of the road for conceiving naturally. Now I have to look into medical intervention. When I woke up from that surgery, I was crushed because then I felt like that was final. And like I say, from every surgery, I wake up and my husband is always there. And him just being my rock and saying it's okay and you're still enough, then that helped me to think, okay, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm still enough, I'm still who God created me to be, because
and you're still beautiful.
He has a plan. Yeah, I don't see it right now.
Yes.
And this walk that I'm on, I don't know how it's gonna end up, but I know I trust him.
Amen.
And that's good enough for me.
Amen.
Okay, but now there's another thing that I've been thinking about. You would hear people say, if you want something, don't think about it. Don't obsess with it. Just relax and just let it happen. And I do believe that. I do believe that. That you don't obsess with it. I think the stress and the anxiety gives out a kind of energy that causes things to just not work out as it should. But what is the thin line between me not worrying about it and me having a low expectation? Where is the line between that? Like, you tell me to have my expectations high, and then you say, don't worry about it. What is the difference? What is, I think that needs to be clarified. What is the difference? Keep your expectation high. You gotta have faith. Don't worry about it. Stop thinking about it. Stop obsessing about it. Have faith. Stop obsessing about it. What is it that you want me to do?
Yes.
So let me know. But you know what? You know what? You know what?
Yes.
We're going to answer that question in part number 2. I'm so sorry, guys. We are out of time, but we are not out of content. And so you know what that means? That means that there's going to be a part 2. So I want to thank Gia and I want to thank Acribba so much. But you got to promise that you guys are going to be back because we got to finish this conversation. So, my listening audience, I know, I'm always doing it. But I want you guys to know that we will be back next week to give you the conclusion of this matter on the next Relationship Matters.
Yeah.
Watching RBNTV. We are networking, promoting, we're scoring points for you, proclaiming, declaring, here to encourage you. No matter the problem, we will enlighten you. We hear you, please listen. There is a point of view.